a smaller part, a smaller chunk of hypothesis testing. And before moving to hypothesis testing, let me tell you what do I exactly mean when I talk about hypothesis testing. I'm 110% sure when you have been taught what do a researcher mean by hypothesis testing, your professors might have taught you this is what is a value of hypothesis. This is what we have given a value of hypothesis. Standard value should be given this. P value if the p value is less than this hypothesis is rejected. If the p value is more than this, hypothesis is not rejected. Let me tell you one of the biggest challenge with most of the software in the world. Uh, most of the softwares does believe null hypothesis is formed first, and when null hypothesis is rejected, then we used to form alternative hypothesis. So say for example, if I'm facing a code and my code investigation is done with the help of data using SPSS. So SPSS is believing, or let me take the name of all of the softwares. All of the softwares in the world are believing for null hypothesis was formed first. So I'm not a criminal. I did not perform this crime. This is the null hypothesis. When this null hypothesis is rejected, what does that mean? I am a criminal. So alternative hypothesis is always formed after null hypothesis, which is not the case of all other software. You have an investigation, you have a theory, job satisfaction does lead to organizational commitment, or you have a theory, service quality does lead to good service quality means good customer satisfaction, good repurchase intention. You formed alternative hypothesis first and you are testing that hypothesis. So that's a complete wrong assumptions. That's a complete wrong assumption. And this is what, according to a statistics from a Statista, which is a Statsoft's website. So according to a assumption from a Statista, about 60% of the researchers are assuming or doing it completely wrong, because your software is not telling you what is your assumption. Your software, and you are not telling your software what is your assumption and what you are trying to investigate. So in most of the cases, in most of the traditional researches, we used to believe. So say for example, this is a chart, this is a bell-shaped chart of a class, of a height of a students of a class. Though I'm bad in drawing, so probably this is not as perfect as bell shape. So most of the students will lie into this range. Let me make it more thick. So most of the students will lie in this range, which is starting from 5 feet 2 inches to 5 feet 6 inches, or maybe 5 feet 8 inches, or maybe up to 5 feet 9 inches. And now I'm testing, is there any tendency that I can get a student who is having height more than 7 feet? This is the extreme of 7 feet. Yes, I can get a student of 7 feet. Definitely, I can get a student of 7 feet. When I say, can I get a student of about 9 feet? That will be very, very challenging. That will be very, very tough. If I look at the other extreme of this situation, what other extreme is telling me, can I get a height? Can I get a student with the height of as maybe 4 feet 8 inches or 4 feet 6 inches? That's okay. Can I get a student who is having height as 3 feet? That will be again very challenging. So if I'm testing only one side of the hypothesis, can I get a higher side of the student? Can I get the students with the higher heights? Probably I'm doing it one-way hypothesis, right? If I'm testing only this extreme, whether I'll be able to get the extreme height of the students, I'm doing it only one way of the hypothesis. And if I'm testing, is it possible that I can get a student of 3 feet, a student of a height of 3 feet, or a student of a height of 9 feet? Probably I'm doing a two-way analysis. I'm looking for, so I'm not testing anything. My assumptions of the test are not testing anything here. This yellow part, I'm not testing anything here. No tests have been performed here. The test has performed here. This is known as one-tail hypothesis testing. And this side is again known as one-tail hypothesis testing. And when I combine both, they'll be known as two-tail hypothesis testing. This one tail, oh sorry, this one is yellow color, you won't be able to see that. This one tail and this one tail combinedly are making two-tail test, right? So this is very important, which tail is being checked. So this is extreme tail, which is on right-hand side, and this one is on, again, is an extreme side of the hypothesis, extreme side of the data, right? So this is what I'm going to test. In courtroom, if I'm a criminal, actually I'm not a criminal if I'm in courtroom. If I'm an accused, my lawyer has to prove that I did not perform this crime, and the lawyer of opposition party has to prove I made this crime. My lawyer has to identify the possible lacuna, the possible misleading situation of the cases, and the opposition party's lawyer has to identify how this test is a best test to perform or to claim this accused is a criminal. So you need not to prove that you did not perform this crime or somebody did not perform this crime. The opposition party has to prove 100% proof should have been offered to a court. This person has performed this crime. Likewise, there is a very popular saying. There is a very popular serial in Indian context, if you can recall, Office. Musaddilal has been died once, though he's been alive, but nobody is nobody is relying on him. People were asking for, why not you bring a document that you are alive? Very recently, one of the Bollywood movie has also been released on the same theme. If I'm not incorrect, the name of the movie is Kagaj, I think. Not Hollywood, Bollywood movie, I'm sorry. Right. So this is what is an assumption. What do I mean by when I say I want to test a hypothesis, right? Is there any doubt up to on this part of what do I mean by when I say I'm going to test a hypothesis? Right. So today we'll be looking at these conditions. Today we'll be looking at these different situations. Most of the discussion will take the place from t-test. The second priority will be given to ANOVA. And the variants of ANOVA, different variants of ANOVA will be given the third priority. Hello? 1+ node, please mute yourself. And then while discussing all these parametric tests, we'll be discussing the different non-parametric tests which can be accompanied with them, but we'll be separately discussing these two non-parametric tests which are important to be understood by everyone, right? So let us start our day. Let us start our discussion based on what do I mean. Just a minute, let me hide my video so that yes. Is there any black patches on my screen now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Right. So when I say I want to perform a t-test, what do I mean? I mean, I want to perform looking at the data which is not part of this analysis, or looking at the data which is the part of the analysis. So with the help of t-test, the t-test also tells the researcher how significant the differences are, though it is visible by eyes. You can visually see there are two students. One student is having a height of 6 feet, another student is having a height of 4 feet, right? And that's very visually I can inspect. They are the two different heights. But statistics does not believe any visual inspection. Statistics believe, okay, the difference of height is okay, but is that difference significant or not? Am I handling or are you handling a significant differences or not? If it is not significant, probably there is no difference in two different heights, right? In the other words, let the researcher know if the differences could have happened by chance. Maybe it is possible these differences could have happened by chance. Somebody has won the race because of by chance. His average run time is not as popular or is not as shorter as he ran in that particular race. The t-test can also tell you by comparing the means of two groups and letting one the probability of those results happening by the chance. Here, very important thing is I'm talking about two groups, right? So t-test could only performed when you have two groups to compare. If you have more than two groups to compare, t-test cannot be performed. So say for example, if I am having two categories in the gender, one is male and one is female, t-test is a suitable test. But if I am having three categories in the gender, one is male, another one is female, and third one is gender neutral, or maybe the category I don't know or don't want to disclose, right? In that case, you cannot perform t-test. T-test means when you have specifically data from two different categories, right? A large t-score tells you that groups are different, and a small t-score. So the the statistics will be reported in terms of t. And that is why it is named as T. So T is of three types. There are three types of t-test when we'll be discussing those three t-tests. First one is one sample t-test. I have already supplied you 4-5 files of different data sets. So will you performing these data sets? Because I'm able to recall yesterday I've sent you a data set, and then for performing, for following me, this has took about 4-5 minutes. So I've already ready-made prepared data set for your references. So don't worry for that purpose. You'll be able to follow me directly. First one is one sample t-test. What do I mean by one sample t-test? I do not have categories to compare. First thing. When I do not have categories to compare, so what could be done? So maybe first example could be there are number of students who are running into a race. Their times have been noted down. And as per the world record of the Olympics, for a 100-meter race, I'm just guessing it, don't worry, I'm not accurate. For a 100-meter race or maybe 1000-meter race, one need minimum 3 minutes. So whether average time of my class, average time of these students is about or near to 3 minutes, or it is more than 3 minutes, or it is less than 3 minutes. This is a one situation where I can perform a small sample t-test. Another situation could be, say for example, I'm having landmines. My house is full of different type of mines or different type of pipes, and I'm having two categories or maybe more than that, or maybe and no, without any category, I'm having several mices in my hand, and I want to see which mouse I want to see mices are what is the minimum time or what is the average time when mices are able to find the path to come out with another pipe. This could be the second situation. You need only one category of the data, then only you can perform t-test. And likewise, we already had a discussion on this assumptions. These are the okay. So what independent sample, what one sample t-test could perform for you? One sample t-test is used to determine whether a sample comes from a population with a specific mean. This population mean is not always known, but it's sometimes hypothesized. So if you can recall this example, average run time of my class, and I assume they should take approx 3 minutes. If they are taking very large difference, more than 3 minutes, then probably is not a good or suitable situation. So you believe that doctors that work in accident and emergency department work 100 hours per week, despite the dangers of working such long hours. You have sampled 100 doctors in A&E departments and see if their hours are different from 100 hours. So you have collected the data from about 1000 doctors, and you think One doctor has replied, I'm working for about I'm working for about 105 hours. Another doctor says I'm working for 98 hours. The third doctor says I'm working for 89 hours. And this way you have collected the data from 1,000 doctors. And finally, you want to say all the doctors are working average 100 times or not, right? So I'm taking a case study of high jump. I'm having a data of my class. I have asked all the students to make a high jump, and I've recorded their data. This sheet first is 01 high jump. I've recorded their data, and I started believing there is a standard height which should be jumped by all the students. If I'm a sports teacher, I started believing at least 3 feet is a height which every student should jump at any point of time. So I've recorded their jump 2 feet 5 inches, 2 feet 7 inches, or I've recorded their jump height, right? And I started believing 3 or maybe 2 seems to be a better situation. Every student must jump at least 2 feet, right? So where to go? Vidyasagarji is saying no. I didn't get this.
No, sir, it is right, sir.
Okay. So you'll have to go to t-test category, and this is what is the beauty of Jamovi. Like Jamovi does not group them into a different group, and you need not to be confused anywhere where to go. So this is a t-test, but let me also check whether how my StatCast is able to predict what my StatCat is asking me, like what should be done with this data. Let me see. So this is a single variable, and high jump is a data. What it is suggesting to me? Can you read? Anyone read it for me?
It's one sample t-test.
Correct. So StatCat is accurate up to this point, though we have started today, right? So StatCat is able to accurately predicting which test is needed for this particular analysis, right? So I'll go into the t-test and we'll go in one sample t-test. And I will directly shift this data from high jump to dependent variable. Right? You can see this high jump. Student T is saying a statistic of T is 31.2, degree of freedom is 20, and P value. So this is saying every student does have different height, or sorry, every student does have different jump size, different high jump size, right? Let me predict. Look at here very carefully. Let me predict hypothesis. So I want to test all the students must have the capabilities to jump at least 2 feet height, right? And what I'm able to predict? Yes, it is a significant difference. What does it mean? All the students are able to cross approx 2 feet. When I say 1, it is still significant. When I say 5, it is still significant. But if you can see very carefully, the statistic is changing, right? And this is what is very important, what I'm going to discuss in next few seconds. If you can recall, the Jamovi is having a beauty to understand. Jamovi is asking you every time, what is your hypothesis? This first option is telling me I'm predicting or I'm doing this hypothesis testing for a null, as a null hypothesis. What does it mean? If I'm putting 2 or 5, I'm indicating the students are not able to jump, or the students are not able to jump at least 2 feet height every way, every time, or all the students are not able to jump at least 2 feet every time. Not as important in this hypothesis. Test value is not the case, and this way I'm rejecting the hypothesis. What does it mean? If the hypothesis is rejected, what does it mean? Every student are able to cross, or all the students or each student are able to cross average height of about 5 feet, right? You can also click on the second option and then let us see what is the changes. I'll change it from 2 to from 5 to 3, and I will change it from test value. So now my hypothesis has changed. When my hypothesis has changed, so I'm predicting I'm making an alternative hypothesis, which is not rejected. So my alternative hypothesis is all the students are able to jump at least 3 feet. All the students are able to jump at least 3 feet. This is what is a hypothesis, and hypothesis is not rejected. My third situation of hypothesis is all the students, which is again misleading, not misleading, which is again negatively leading hypothesis. All the students are not able to jump at least 3 feet, and you can see this is less than 1. I'm able to reject the hypothesis. What does it indicate? The students are able to jump at least 3 feet for their performances. We can take another example of the same situation. Say, for example, there is a subject which is, say, for example, my favorite subject is geography. I'm having a class of a student, and students have scored about 34, 45, 34, 6, the test is of 50 marks, 35, 43, 46, 42, 13, 12, 15, 16, 21, 26. Right? I'll take these 13 different data points. I will change this also here. Right, so geography, these are the marks of geography which I'm going to test, and my assumption is all the students, because I'm a good teacher, I assume I'm a good teacher, all the students must get approx 60%, which is 36. All the students are not able to attract about 36, about the 60%. And you can see my hypothesis. When I say they are not able to, my hypothesis is rejected, which means students are able to do it. When I change the situation, I assume they are able to cross the 36, and which is I'm not able to reject the hypothesis. All the students are able to score below 36. Again, this is rejected. So only this is the first hypothesis which has been not rejected. And in fact, no hypothesis we are able to reject. No, there is no hypothesis we are able to reject. Right? So almost everything is showing you the same results. Right? Along with this t-test, when we are performing t-test, this offers you lots of things. You want to see confidence interval of your data. I'll remove this in this case. So you want to perform mean differences of two different groups, because there are in this case one sample t-test. We do not have two different groups. So what is the mean differences with one student to other student? You want to see their confidence.
Statistics.
Yes.
What is the relationship with the statistics value which is changing as per the p-value?
This one?
Statistics in the one sample t-test. Yes, that value is changing as per the p-value. What is the significance?
For reporting purpose or for interpretation purpose, only p-value is important here.
Yes. Then what is
we'll discuss statistic while I'll be discussing independent sample t-test. Then I'll be able to discuss with that's a simple result of a formula, but only with the help of p-value we can identify the hypothesis is rejected or not rejected. Right? Statistics cannot help you in making any interpretation based on we should reject hypothesis or we should not reject hypothesis. So statistic will not make much difference with this part. If you are comfortable with Bayes theorem, this could also be produced here, whereas I won't find the usage of Bayes theorem here. You also want to measure the effect size. However, there is only one variable, so measuring effect size again will not be a useful indicator. However, this is a software and this will compute everything, whatever you ask to the software. You want to see some description. There is 21 students. This is the mean of the whole series. This is the median of whole series. Standard deviation, standard error. Again, apart from mean, nothing will make any difference. Nothing will make, I cannot infer anything looking at these. If you can see, you need not to go every time to the exploration, and you need not to explore the data points first time. So you simply click on normality test, and somebody was asking which test to perform, right? Shapiro-Wilk, KS test, and Anderson-Darling. These three tests are results of this analysis. And we know, can you help me in understanding it? Can we say our data is normal? Can you help me in understanding? Can I interpret it? My data is normal.
Yes, because as the statistics value of Shapiro will showing more than 0.5.
Shapiro-Wilk is showing p value is showing where is this more
Yes,
than
significant.
0.5?
Yeah, statistics value 0.8.
Correct.
Okay. Yes, sir. And P1 is the significance. Yes, sir.
P value should be
Less
more
than
than
0.5.
0.5. More than 0.5. Not the significant P value or significance value should be more than 0.05. Right? Not the
Yes, sir.
statistic. Correct?
Okay, fine. Yes,
Even I know my data is not normally distributed. So this is the result.
Yes,
If
sir.
in fact, if I plot a quantile plot, you'll be able to understand why I'm commenting like, just a minute. Maybe my software has got hanged. No. Is there anything in calculation? Nothing. Allow me a second. Only Jamovi is not working. Yes. Look at this data. Looking at QQ plot. Can I say my data is normally distributed?
No, sir.
No. And
No,
this is what
no.
has been. This is what has been same has been reported by
Shapiro-Wilk value.
these three values. Significance values of these three tests: Shapiro-Wilks, Kolmogorov-Simronov, and Anderson-Darling. Right? Now there is another very important decision, because since day one we are talking about missing values. Right? What do I mean by how to handle missing values at the time when we are analyzing the data? So there are two options. And what are those two options? One is exclude case analysis by analysis. So every time when you find there is a missing value, remove that missing value and give a -1 to the total. Whereas there is other situation which asks me to exclude case wise, excludes case list wise. So even if one value is missing out of this total series, this will completely change the analysis. However, this is not the case because we do not have any value which is missing out of this data, right? Even if there is one value missing, so we can see we are having 21 values, and I'll remove one, right? And let us see what has changed now. When I'm clicking on exclude case list wise, or when I'm clicking exclude case analysis by analysis, is there any difference in results? I'll do it again. No, there is no difference in results because we do not have two values to compare here, right? The same results, the same test can help me observing different results while I'm having two values to test here. At the time of when we are performing one sample t-test, even if you put the second data, you won't be able to see any differences with the Shapiro-Wilks of high jump and the Shapiro-Wilks of any situation. Even if it is able to establish some relationship, but the challenge is the marks of geography and the scores of height of high jump, they are not related at any point of time. Even if you can see some differences in these observations, but that observation and everything will be useless for me because these are the two data which are not at all related for any purposes, for any analysis, right? So this is the first case of one sample t-test. Then we'll move further for the second situation. The assumption we have already had a discussion on. Okay, this is wrongly placed at this. Assumption should be here. The variable, your dependent variable should be measured on ratio or interval variable or interval scale or maybe continuous scale. These assumptions we already had a discussion because we wanted to perform parametric analysis. Let me show you what is non-parametric analysis for one sample t-test. If you can see here, there is a formula, there is a name which is Wilcoxon rank. How to perform Wilcoxon rank will be a completely different methodology, but when I click on Wilcoxon rank, can you see a separate column has been added to this complete analysis? This Wilcoxon rank will not have any statistic because this is considering this data which is non-parametric, so therefore calculating statistics will not be wise. But Wilcoxon analysis is telling you to reject the hypothesis. Right, so this is what is a non-parametric test. Wilcoxon rank is a non-parametric test for one sample t-test. Now let me come to the second situation. Let me come to the second test, which is independent sample t-test. And we have a detailed discussion for independent sample t-test. So when I say parametric test, there is two samples. I must have two categories. And there are two different situations. There are two different functions of independent sample and paired test, paired sample t-test. So for independent sample t-test, we have non-parametric as Mann-Whitney. And for paired sample t-test, we have non-parametric as Wilcoxon test. Right? If you have more than two, then there will be a different picture. So if you want to perform an independent test, you can perform Mann-Whitney as a non-parametric. If you want to perform a paired sample t-test, you can perform Wilcoxon signed rank test again, which we have already performed in case of one sample t-test. Right. Let me come to a different aspect of this test. When to perform independent sample t-test? What is the importance of independent sample t-test or independent t-test for short comparison of the means of two unrelated groups? The important thing is two unrelated groups on the same continuous or dependent variable. Researcher could use an independent t-test for understanding whether there is a difference in test anxiety based on educational level. This could be another use of independent sample t-test. The same assumptions. The variable should be independent because now we have two variables to compare. Levin's test we'll discuss a bit later, and this analysis we'll discuss a bit later. But before that, let us look at a case study when you can perform these type of this situation of independent sample t-test. So one of the case studies is the example to know whether the salary of male faculty members in private institution is equal to the salary of female faculty members. A researcher has collected the data from 20 male and 20 female faculty members in private institutions to know the differences. So let us perform first analysis, and then we'll discuss different data points and different points to be discussed during independent sample t-test. So the second, we'll be using the second file, which is salary independent sample t-test. Right. So you can see I'm having two data points of male and female. The data has been collected from 20 males and 20 females from private institutions, and their salary in terms of rupees has been mentioned to the second column. And I want to perform, let us see whether StatCat is able to perform the correct task or not. So I'll perform salary in terms of dependent variable and gender in terms of independent variable. What this software is suggesting me, so you need to go under t-test and then independent sample t-test, right? So this is up to this point, even StatCat has been accurate. which type of analysis should be performed to this analysis, with this data. So we'll go to the t-test and we'll perform independent sample t-test. Salary will go to the dependent variable. There could be n number of variables. That will not be an issue. And the grouping variable will be gender. So now we need not to hypothesize your average will be, or average will be about 2 or 3. Only a small table has been presented here: salary, student T, the statistic, degree of freedom. You might ask, what do I mean by degree of freedom? The formula for degree of freedom is total sample size minus the data points. So 40 is the total sample size minus, there were two options. One is male and second is female. So this is the formula of total degree of freedom. Somebody has already asked, what do I mean? What do you mean by statistics, right? I'll discuss this a bit later, after a few seconds, in fact, after a few minutes, in fact.
This is the t value that was calculated with the help of formula and statistics.
Correct. But what is the objective of this t value? That I'll discuss, don't worry. And my data is telling me this hypothesis need to be rejected. What is my hypothesis? My software is telling me my hypothesis is group 1 is not equals to group 2. Means male faculty members are not getting the salary equals to female faculty members. And this is telling me, the software is asking me, the analysis is asking me to reject the hypothesis. And when I'm rejecting the hypothesis, it is telling me, it is indicating me male faculty members are getting more salary, or maybe female faculty members are getting more salary. I'm not commenting on this, who is getting, at least group number 1 is getting more salary than group number 2, or maybe group number 2 is getting salary more than group number 1. What will happen if I select group 1 is greater than group 2? Again, to reject hypothesis. Group 1 is lesser than group 2? Not to reject the hypothesis. Now, I'll tell you how to understand, how to tell which group is getting higher salary, which group is expecting. So I'll click on mean differences, and then we'll click on confidence interval. Mann-Whitney and Welch, these are the two non-parametric tests. I will also discuss, I'll also tell you the descriptives. Now I have everything to report here. Pardon, please. Yes. Your voice is a bit cracking. Your voice is a bit cracking. We cannot hear you.
The confidence of interval it will be up to 99%.
Please type your query. Please type your query. We cannot hear you. Now I have got everything to report here. My p value is telling me to reject the hypothesis, and when I am rejecting the hypothesis, somebody may somebody might ask me, you have rejected the hypothesis, but who is getting more salary? Males are getting more salary or females are getting more salary? So I'll have to click on descriptives, and then I'm able to tell males are getting average salary as 49,000, whereas females are getting average salary is 39,000. So now it could be commented easily. Now the challenge with you is how to report this statistics in APA format. Nowadays there is much discussion on reporting test and everything into the APA format. So I'll tell you a website. Whatever test you want to report into the APA format, simply type here reporting independent sample t-test in APA format. First website will be student help something. Yes, this one reporting. Okay, I made many mistakes. Reporting independent sample t-test in a paper format. No, in APA format. APA format. Yes, this is the website. Not this time. Not is the first website. The second website is statistics help for students.com. You can click on this, and this will give you few blank formats, an independent sample t-test was conducted to compare your DV. What is the DV? Male and female. To compare males and females in the salary, the levels of males and females could be mentioned, whether the results is significant or not, and where to get. This is like this. This website is able to help you. This website is supporting the results from SPSS, but let me tell you. So there was a significant difference in the scores of in case of sugar or in case of not sugar. You can see mean values have been reported here, which we have highlighted here, mean values. This one. Mean values are reported. And in case of no sugar also, again, mean value and standard deviation. These two things have been reported. Mean values and standard deviation. No, this is not the standard deviation. Yes, this is the standard deviation, correct. Right. These. And then there is a significant difference into the score of sugar. M value is 4.2. From where they have taken this 4.2? Can you see 4.2 anywhere into the slide? Mean of 4.2. Standard deviation 1.3. No sugar, so the T is 8. This is what is the rule of T statistics. After the T, this is the T statistics. T is 2.87. 8 is degree of freedom, and significance value of is this. So totally, all together, this could be written as this way. An independent sample t-test was conducted to compare memory of words in case of sugar and no sugar conditions. There was a significant difference into the scores of sugar when the mean was 4.2 and the standard deviation was 1.3. And in case of no sugar, the memory of the mean of memory was 2.2 and the standard deviation is 0.8. Conditions, T was having a degree of freedom as 8 and the T statistics was 2.89. And this was sufficient to reject a null hypothesis on the confidence interval of P, where the P of the significance is 0.20. These results suggest that sugar really does have an effect on memory of words, especially a result suggests when humans consume sugar, their memory of the words increases. Right. So this is how we need to report these three things. Degree of freedom is available here. Statistics is available here. So the ultimate objective of statistics is to understand the level of group. The estimation of the differences could be mentioned with the help of a statistic, which is the ultimate objective of calculating the statistic. Otherwise, there is no other use. Statistic will be used in parentheses, will be used in brackets. The ultimate thing to report in any of the situation, in any of the test, in any of the report will be P, which is playing a very important role, and mean, which is playing the second important role to understand who is getting more salary in this case or who is getting less salary in this case. Okay, there are several questions into the chat box.
Sir, if we are getting P less than 0.001, means it's understood it is rejected.
Yes.
Means all the time we have to check only this box.
Yes, all the time you'll have to check only this box. I'll tell you, there are three situations of P. P could be more than 0.05. This means hypothesis is not rejected. If the P is less than 0.05, this means the hypothesis is rejected up to 95% confidence. And what is the meaning of this confidence? This means if this experiment will be reported about 100 times, 95% times the results will be same. If the p-value, the third situation, if the p-value is less than 0.001, this means the hypothesis was rejected on 99.97% confidence. What does it mean? If this experiment will be repeated about 100 times, if this experiment will be repeated about 100 times, 99% times the results will be same. So for medical sciences, they should always be 0.001. always be less than 0.001. For social sciences, we also reject the hypothesis based on less than 0.05. Okay, Dr. Poorna Chandraji is saying if the confidence level is 99%, will it create any problem? No, this will not create any problem. When the confidence level is 99%, this means if you perform the same experiment for about 100 times, this is a question from Dr. Poorna Chandra Pradhan. What do I mean by when your confidence is 99%? This means if you repeat the same experiment for about 100 times, about 99% times the results will be same. Okay, Vidya Sagarji is asking, sir, the file that you have shared in the group have not opening in my PC. Is there anyone else who is facing the same problem?
Yes, I am also facing the same problem.
Oh,
It is not supporting the PC.
my God. I'll try to handle this situation. In the meantime, you can
So one more doubt. I'm
just
not getting
just give me a
your-
minute. Let me handle these questions
Yeah.
from the chat box. Gajananji is asking, sir, I'm asking my respondents their salary on ordinal scale. Then how to go about the test? Ordinal scale could be used for choices, for preferences. So salary cannot be choice, right? I can ask you, say for example, if you're shopping in the market, so which t-shirt, which color of t-shirt you have liked most? Blue you have liked most, then green you have liked the second priority. So until and unless you have several choices or several preferences in a sequence, then ordinal scale is not the correct way of measuring this. Okay.
No, sir, hello, sir.
Just a moment. Let me handle one more question from the chat box. I'm sorry, I could not read your full name. This is Gana Subramaniam. Like, sorry if I'm wrongly reading it. Can we put more than one variable to the dependent variable? Yes, 100%. That is why the size of that is why you can impute multiple software, multiple variables here. So don't worry for that. Yes, now I can take the question from this voice mode.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hello,
sir.
sir. Hello, sir. Gajana
Yes,
here,
yes,
sir. So the question was I was asking about the ordinal scale is that like suppose I'm asking my respondent whether your salary is falling in 10,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 30,000.
Then this will be called as nominal, not ordinal.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So that time, how to go about the analysis?
Then this will that salary will be part of this column grouping variable. You cannot measure that. Then in that case, salary will not be you will not be able to act with the salary as dependent variable. If you can see here on this column, the bottom right column, these cells are also indicating which type of variables could be accepted here, right? If you are having nominal data and ordinal data, you cannot put that into the dependent variable. Let me do it. Let me do one experiment for you. I will remove this gender from this point to this point, and you can see I cannot I cannot take gender from this point to this point, or even if I'm able to take it, this will not calculate anything for me. Can you see that everything is now blank? Because independent variable, you need to have only continuous variable data. If you will not have continuous variable data, this will not calculate anything for you. Correct? Any next question,
Yes,
please?
sir. I am facing problem in interpreting the results, especially this p-values and all. So when we are doing this sample independent sample t-test, how to interpret the result that APA you have shown, but how I can understand? Still, I'm not getting this.
This one. So let me interpret these test results for your reference.
No, yeah, this I got it.
So what's your question?
No, that is true. That is clear. But in this, see, same this independent sample t-test, you are saying this p-value less than 0.001. We are saying it is at 99% or 95%. How I will get confidence interval? You have taken 95%, right? Here.
I have taken, I can remove 95% confidence. I can take 99% confidence even. What do I mean by confidence? When I say I'm 99% confident, what does it indicate? This indicate if my results, if my experiment have been performed for about 100 times, 99% times the results will be same as my present data I'm able to get it.
Yeah.
Right? When I say my results are 95%, I'm 95% confident with my data. What does it indicate? This indicate the results will be 95% time will remain same. There is another parameter which is helping me in identifying my level of confidence. Even if I'm saying this, I'm asking the software, you should be 95% confident, but my p-value is indicating, I am having the data which is 99% confidence on the data, even if I asked my software to be 95% confident. If you can, let me open my whiteboard there. So there are three situations of p-value. One is it should be less than 0.05, and the second situation it should be less than 0.001. When my data is 0.05, but when my significance value is less than 0.05, I'm 95% confident. When my data is showing me 0.001, I'm 99.97% confident. Right? And when my data is more than 0.05, this is not a better situation of having a confidence, right? And this is what is written here also, like this is what if the significance value is greater than 0.5, and what if your significant value is less than or equals to 0.5. So let me discuss this point here. So if my significant value is greater than 0.05, can you see?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So my PowerPoint slide is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. So when I see my significant value is greater than 0.05, a value greater than 0.05 means that the variable in your two conditions is about the same. So if the salaries of males, so say for example, I have specifically taken the case study from private institution, right? If you can
Yes.
see it very clearly, private institution. If this data I have taken this data from the government institution, do you think there will be a difference in salary? That too based on gender?
Not.
You belongs to any gender, your salary will be same.
Yes.
Right? That is why very specifically I mentioned the private institution. Why private institution? Because if this is not the private institution, what will be the challenge with me? If it is a data from government institution, the salaries, the data point from males and from females will be the same or almost same or nearly same, right? That score in one condition do not vary too much more than the score in your second condition. So you both the categories does have nearly same data. And what do I mean by when my significance value is less than 0.05? A value less than 0.05 means that the variability in your two conditions is not the same. So the two conditions or two categories does have two different data points, does have two different variability of the data. That the score in one condition vary much more than the score in your second condition. So if it is not group, it could be a condition. So maybe if you belongs to medical sciences or biology or any other sciences, then probably this point will be needed. But scientifically, it means that the variability in two conditions is significantly different. And what do I mean by significant? Significant means you can repeat this experiment multiple times, you'll get the same results. This is a bad thing, but SPSS takes into this account by giving you a slightly different result into the second row. In the significance value, if the significance value is the example of value was greater than 0.5, we would have read the second row. So what is the difference into the results of SPSS and all other softwares? SPSS, if you are performing independent samples t-test, you will be able to perform Levin's test simultaneously without your choice. So if this value is significant in first data point, then you'll have to read the second line, the significant value of second line will be important for you. And if this is not significant, then first line is important for you. The same thing could also be performed using Jamovi. Where is the file? Salary. Sorry, I'll just do it again. Yes, can you see this Jamovi sheet with you?
Yes.
Yes. So this is asking you to perform some homogeneity test, to perform some normality test and QQ plots also, right? You can also perform a effect size test, which is not playing any, which will not play any important role here. This will simply generate a Cohen's D in your result. And what do I mean by Cohen's D? Cohen's D is a value of correlation. And you can see your value of correlation is 1.29, which means this is an incorrect calculation. So effect size is not much efficient here. Descriptive plots will be needed here. And descriptive plots will be visually inspecting. You can easily identify if it is your PhD thesis, then reporting this plot will help you much. If it is a research paper, then probably you do not get sufficient space to report everything. So if these lines are overlapping to each other, this means the data is same. So if the salary of females, the line of salary of females is here, then probably you think they are overlapping much and they are almost same data points. But there is huge difference in terms of salary of females and in terms of salary of males, right? So this is descriptive plots can help you in understanding. You don't need Levin's test in case of Jamovi. Homogeneity test, all of us does understand. What do I mean by homogeneity test? You can see. Now you are able to perform even Levin's test, that the homogeneity in two different data points is possible or not, or if the homogeneity is not needed. So with a very specific situation, you want Levin's test, then only it should be performed. Otherwise, this descriptive plots are sufficient to show you why you are considering this as a significantly different plot or why you are considering this as a not significantly different plot. Normality plot could be normality test, not plot. And you can see Shapiro, Wilks, Kolmogorov, Shimronov, and Anderson, Darling. What these tests are reporting? My data is normally distributed or not normally distributed?
Not normally distributed.
No, my data is normally distributed because p-value is more than 0.05.
Yes.
Yes. If you see the QQ plot, there is a slightly different situation could be there. And you can see my data is normally distributed looking at QQ plot, right?
Yeah.
This is the complete situation of independent sample t-test. And if you started believing your data is not normally distributed while performing the analysis, you can simply click on Welch and Mann-Whitney U-test. The reports will be the reports will be generated here itself. Sorry. This way. So the first row belongs to a student sample t-test or a student's t-test. The second row belongs to Welch t-test. Third row belongs to Mann-Whitney U-test. And all the results are stating null hypothesis should be rejected. Yes. So what we can infer looking at the complete analysis, do we find the salary in private institution and salary in private institution for males and females are different?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Who is getting higher salary?
That is mentioned over there, males.
Males are getting higher salaries. And how I come to know males are getting higher salary?
That is a mean value calculated from descriptives. Yes.
Correct. Mean value calculated in descriptive can help me in understanding. Another point from this plots, I can understand the males are getting higher salary, which is ranging from above 45,000 to 55,000, whereas females are getting somewhere about 38, 37 to 45, less than 45,000. Correct. And along with this plot, you can also indicate this mean is of 95% confidence interval, and this square means a median. Circle means mean, and a square means median. So this is how I'm able to completely interpret independent sample t-test. Right. Any question up to this point?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
So as when I'm applying this normality test, now in my output sheet, it's showing only Shapiro-Wilk, not the other two tests. Is it require some plugins?
I'm not sure. I have shared yesterday. I've shared you the list of all the plugins, whichever I'm using. If it is
Okay.
needed some additional plugin, just a minute. Maybe it is the case. If you are correct, probably my Jamovi will be having salary one. Yes, salary one. No, this does not need any other plugin. If this could have needed any other plugin, probably the reference sizes could have been increased.
Can you send the files again, because we are not able to practice, it's not supporting.
Okay, allow me a moment. Should I send you an email? Probably sending on WhatsApp is not helping.
Yeah, it's okay.
Anuji, please share your email ID.
Yes, sir. Sure.
So mine also.
So Anuji will send this email to everyone on the group.
So meanwhile, can you just pardon that? How do we come to know that which test is to be applied? What was the direction for this?
So there are two ways. One, theoretically, you must know everything about which test should be
Yes,
performed.
sir.
One. The second
By
way
the-
is a software plugin, which is known as StatCat.
Okay,
Right.
okay, sir. State.
So
Okay, thank you.
I'm sending this email to Anuji's email ID so that he can send all of you in one go. Allow me a second. Maybe I have sent the data files on WhatsApp. That might be creating problem for you. Anuji will simply forward all the data to one go. Sales and Kova, I also received one message from Dr. Ivana has sent one message to Anuji. Sales, she's able to open Sales Ankova and Sales Mankova because those are the SPSS files. I wanted to demonstrate something with the help of SPSS files. That is why you are able to open those files. Otherwise, allow me a moment. Allow me a second. I'll attach all the files. Don't worry. Data files for hypothesis testing. Anuji sent an email to you.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
A minute.
You might have formed a group, so please forward them all of them.
Right, sir.
So you can share the file in chat option.
Chat option of this Jamovi, chat option of the Zoom.
Yes, sir. Zoom has this file here.
I'll do that also. If you'll get some of the files, at least you can start working. No, I'm not able to attach those files here.
So it's better if you're mailing, it will be easy for us.
Mailing is already done. Maybe in next
Yes.
few minutes you will receive those emails.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Saraji is asking, in spite of installing all the libraries listed by you yesterday, I'm not getting these two tests in normality. Yes, sir, me too. I can only see the Shapiro-Wilk, so probably I'm not very sure. However, I have listed all the plugins. Can you see my Zamovi screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so these are the plugins which I've already. JMV is the by default plugin, which is available to every one of you. FlexPlot, I have sent this name. JJ StatPlot, ISJ data, but this is needed for a separate Excel sheets using Jamovi. Mad mode will be used for mediation and moderation. More test, yes, I think I did not share this name with all of you. More test. Yes, and this is especially needed for t-test, one-way ANOVA, ANCOVA, and all other part, right? Perfect. So you need to include more test. This is very small size of library. Scatter, SurveyMV, StatCat, and all other libraries I think you have, except this more test. Do you have this more test? Yes, and this is specifically mentioning. I did not send this name to all of you. This is specifically mentioning Kolmogorov, Simronov, and Anderson Darling. Right. I hope now after installing this, everyone will get these results also. Kolmogorov, Simronov. However, I personally, this is in my personal opinion, Kolmogorov, Simronov is not much needed test nowadays. Anderson Darling represents it better. Yes. Did you receive the email? Do you receive the email?
Yes, sir, we have received.
Yeah. So please start downloading those files and then you will be able to follow. Right. Now let me come to the third point. Sarah Merlinji is saying, yes, sir, got this after installing this library. And that's a very small library, in fact. Okay, let me start again with the discussion point. Yes, this was a case study of independent sample t-test. Now there is a case study. Now let us discuss the third type of t-test, which is paired sample t-test. Let us understand what is the situation of paired sample t-test. So when you have a specific situation, a specific condition, and you have collected data before and after. So say, for example, satisfaction of a customer before mobile number portability and after mobile number portability. Your satisfaction of a bank before demonetization and after a demonetization. So same scale, the same variable has been measured for about 2 times. You need paired sample t-test, right? Anything which has been pre or post, anything which has been left or right, anything which could be combined together, we need paired sample t-test. Right? This will be the same thing. Everything will remain same. And this paired sample t-test is also known as dependent sample t-test. If you are using SPSS, paired t-test, and sometimes is also known as repeated measures t-test, right? The variables used, So the variables used in this test are known as dependent variable because all the variables are dependent. One variable is dependent on the other because one belongs to pre and second belongs to post. So all these variables are known as, right. It could be used as statistic to understand, find out the statistical difference between 2 point of time, 2 different conditions, 2 measurement, or maybe to match a pair. Yeah, thank you, Mamtaji. Okay. Anuji, I'm sending you one email ID. Probably the Dr. Ivana has not is not in your Excel sheet. So please send her also. I'm sorry.
So, sir, I have already sent one.
Okay, might be. She has posted a message into the chat box, so that is why.
Okay, no problem. I will resend it.
Right, so this is a situation of paired sample t-test when you want to specifically wants to compare 2 different situations. Let us look at a case. So customer satisfaction before and after of COVID-19 and sanitization assurance from a hotel. Because before COVID-19, people are visiting any hotel. We have a Gupta restaurant which is nearby to the station, railway station of Gwalior. If you are visiting Gupta restaurant, you can eat a food with the minimum budget of even 50 rupees, the complete food with the minimum budget of 50 rupees. So people were visiting that place. But after COVID-19, people are not visiting that place. So few days before, when I was just crossing out from the outside of station, I saw a board on the Gupta restaurant, and what this Gupta restaurant is promising 100% sanitization. And I was wondered to see if it is 100% sanitized, how you are cooking the foods, right? So I have created a data, hypothetical data has been created on that aspect. Allow me a moment, I'll cross these files and then I'll open these. So the third file will be customer satisfaction for paired sample t-test. Right? And you want to understand before this sanitization assurance, what was the satisfaction of the customer, and after this promise of the sanitization, what is the satisfaction of the customers or the customer satisfaction, right? So I'll go to the t-test and let me also see how predictable is the StatCat right now. So I'm having a relationship of two variables. And let me put these customer satisfaction first and customer satisfaction second to the variable 2, because all are independent variable. And now this will not be able to predict anything because this needs one variable which should be okay. This is a repeated, there is a separate measurement scale which I should use for this purpose, CS1 and CS2. I'll put them there. And you can see the software has identified you need to go t-test and paired sample t-test, right? So somebody was asking into the beginning how to decide which test to perform when. So there is two ways. Either you should be there are two ways. Either you should know everything about the statistical procedure or these several different other aspects, or you should have StatCat library on your system so that you can decide which type of data or which type of data analysis will be needed on the data which I'm having. Voice problem. Galaxy A01 is facing the voice problem. Is there anyone else who is facing this problem?
No, sir.
Yeah. So Galaxy A01, please check at your end.
No, sir.
Yeah. So we'll go to the t-test and we'll select paired sample t-test. So there are two ways of putting data on this paired sample t-test. Either you should select two data together and put them there. So CS1 is selected in one column and CS2 is selected in this column. Or the second way of putting the data is one, if you are having multiple data, then which test should be, which variable should be paired with this. One after that, you'll have to post those variables. Right, and the Wilcoxon Wilcoxon rank test will be able to help you there. Mean differences of customer satisfaction, effect size, Cohen's d and rank Bissleri's correlation, descriptive plot, normality test, QQ plot, and I have selected almost everything, right? So now let us try to interpret what do I mean, whether the customer satisfaction is increased or decreased. So mean of CS1 means before the sanitization insurance was 3.67, and mean of CS2, which means post the insurance of sanitization, mean is 4.38, which means the customer satisfaction has increased. But whether this increase of customer satisfaction is significant or not, I'll not select the specific data column, which data column to look for. Can you please help me in understanding whether the difference in before or after the sanitization insurance, the hypothesis is rejected or accepted or not rejected?
Rejected.
Rejected. And what does it mean? What is a null hypothesis? Let me try to help you help on this with again. So null hypothesis was there is no difference in the customer satisfaction of Gupta Restaurant, sorry, I'm using his name without his permission, of Gupta Restaurant, before and after the, I might have made some spelling mistakes, so forgive me for that. Before and after the insurance of sanitization, right? This was a null hypothesis, H0. And when I rejected this null hypothesis, what do I mean when I rejected? What do I mean to write an alternative hypothesis? Can anybody help me in writing my alternative hypothesis?
Yes, there is a significant difference between the response of the customers
There
Correct.
is a
before
significant difference in
sanitization and
the- yeah.
after.
There is a significant difference in the
difference in
customer
the-
satisfaction of Gupta Restaurant before and after
And after
insurance of
this,
sanitization.
sanitization.
100% correct. Now you got a good idea about how to form your null hypothesis and how to reject your null hypothesis, and then how to form an alternative hypothesis based on the data analysis what you are performing. Okay, can you please help me in understanding my data is normally distributed or not? Customer satisfaction
Normally.
not distributed normally. Shapiro-Wilks is saying, and as I already commented, Shapiro-Wilks and Anderson-Darling are more reliable tests than in comparison of KS, right? And even KS is also not more than 0.05. So every parameter is helping me in understanding my data is not normally distributed. And in that case, if my data is not normally distributed, I need to click on Wilcoxon rank test, and Wilcoxon rank test is also suggesting me to reject the hypothesis looking at this particular situation. You can see this, right? And you can see there is no difference. There is no overlapping of these results, and customer satisfaction 2 is on upper side. What does it mean? After insurance, my customer satisfaction has increased. And looking at this graph also, I can tell you my data is not normally distributed. There is one more thing after here, Cohen's D and rank biserial correlation, biserial correlation, right? And these are also indicating rank biserial correlation is saying there is no positive correlation ship, which means again a method of rejecting a hypothesis. Cohen's D is again a kind of correlation ship. This belongs to a correlation family, but Cohen's G, Hedges H, and Kappa and Glasser's S. These all the variables are preferred by medical sciences professional, not from the social sciences professionals, right? So we'll not be relying on Cohen's D, because Cohen's D is expecting, or rank biserial correlation is expecting a lot of measurement, rigidity, not dynamism. So these are the tests which cannot be considered with the dynamism, right? So up to this point, we had a discussion on comparing 2 points or comparing 2 different categories. Now we'll move to the ANOVA when you have more than 2 categories to compare, right? So now we'll be moving out of the gender discussion. Now we'll be moving out of the discussion which is limiting up to 2 categories. Since ANOVA, since we started using ANOVA, we'll be using more than 2 categories. This could be 3 category, 4 category, or any amount of categories we can use with the help of ANOVA. Right. So before moving further on ANOVA, is there any doubt about these 3 different t-tests? Anyone? No one, right? So ANOVA is what? ANOVA, the full form of the ANOVA is analysis of variance.
If we have
Hello?
to find the difference of E between the both, then we use ANOVA.
Hello?
Sir, I have a query, sir, regarding that t-test. Like in the previous, the last one, the paired one, our data was not very, I mean, like normally distributed and homogeneous. And but our result was showing that it was having the I would say like significantly we can either reject it or accept the hypothesis depending on our alternate one. So I mean your data is not I mean like if I go by your analysis, like parametric analysis is not need to be done on that. But your when you are running the t-test, it is showing this some of the results of that hypothesis. So shall we need to go ahead like such kind of a conditions if our
that is why I have also performed Wilcoxon rank test, and Wilcoxon rank test is suggesting me the same statistics, the same procedure which has been suggested by students t-test, which is a parametric procedure. Or even if you wish, if this is a something, if this is offering you something which is different, you can uncheck the student test, and now you'll be able to see everything will be according to the Wilcoxon rank test. So everything will be according to the non-parametric procedure.
So you cannot be heard. There is some voice problem, I suppose.
Is everyone facing the voice problem?
Clear, voice is clear.
No, sir. It's clear.
Yeah, thank you. So please check with your network connection. There is some problem with your network, I think. Right? So somebody was asking about this on this particular criteria. So is it wise to, like in SPSS or with all other softwares, this is not your choice, but in this case, this is your choice, which analysis. So even if you know your data is non-parametric, Wilcoxon rank will be the sufficient analysis, but you can also indicate this rank, this analysis, that results are same, almost same, right? That could be performed here. Right. Is there any further discussion on this? No. So analysis of variance is a collection of statistical models. So this is not only one method. This is not only one formula of t-test used to analyze the differences among group means and their associated procedures. It was developed by a statistician and evolutionary biologist, Ronald Fisher. Right? So Ronald Fisher is the person behind this. It is the simplest form. In its simplest form, ANOVA provides a statistical test of whether or not the means of several groups are equal. It generalizes the t-test to more than 2 groups, because t-test was having a limitation. You must have only 2 groups. If you are having more than 2 groups, so probably if you are having 3 groups, so you'll have to compare X with Y first, then Y with Z first, and then X with Z first. So you'll have to perform 3 different tests for simply making a comparison of 3 variables or 3 categories of one single variable. ANOVA has simplified that. Instead of 3 different analyses, you need to perform only one analysis. The assumption will remain same. Post hoc plays a very important role in this, but probably today we'll not be able to discuss anything about the post hoc. Probably tomorrow we'll see something about the post hoc. Tukey's procedure and everything type of ANOVA. There are 2 types of ANOVA. One is one-way ANOVA and two-way ANOVA or repeated measures ANOVA. And now you'll be able to recall one-tail ANOVA or two-tail ANOVA. Right? Let us start with the case study of ANOVA. So an experiment in which a major departmental store chains wanted to examine the effect of the level of in-store promotion. So there are multiple stores. You might be able to recall while visiting Reliance stores or Big Bazaar stores, you might find a small store under store. Probably Lakme is having their own counter. Probably beauty products does have most of the time. Beauty products does have their own counter under another mall and into another store. Right. So the experimenter wanted to know the impact of in-store promotion on the sale. In-store promotion was varied with the 3 levels: high promotion, medium promotion, and low promotion. So there was 3 categories of in-store promotion. And let us see the sales promotion data from ANOVA. I'll simply open this file. And you can see I'm having data. One column is of sales, and another column I'm having data from high promotion, medium promotion, and low promotion. Right. I will go simply with the ANOVA and we'll click on ANOVA. Sales is a dependent variable. Promotion is a fixed factor. And now you can see this hypothesis is rejected. What is the null hypothesis? There is no differences of in-store promotion on the sales, right? But this hypothesis is rejected. And when this is rejected, what does it mean? This indicates us there is a difference in particular situation. So if you create high promotion in inside the store, you will be able to make more sales on that. You want to check overall model. Right now we are having only two variables, sales and promotion. So probably overall model test will not be as effective as it should be. If you have more than two variables or more than 4 or 5 variables, then overall model test will be a very effective procedure. You can evaluate the whole model at once. So probably after the promotion, you have gender also, you have, there are different categories you have here. In that case, overall model, whether the overall model is fit or not, this overall model needs to be ticked, otherwise it is not. And on the right hand side, you can also see 3 different situations of eta squared, partial eta squared, and omega squared. Right? As we have only 2 variables, so probably partial eta squared will be checked here, will be clicked here. Otherwise, if you have more than 4 or 5 variables, click on eta squared. Omega squared does have a different relationship with this. So when I click on eta squared has been calculated here. Let me tell you, somebody was asking me, like you can see, generally there are 3 different parameters. Generally there are 3 references in this. Generally there are 2 references in this, Jamovi and R-core team, but now you can see there is a 3rd reference in this because we have used comparison of applied regression. So when it comes to regression, because eta squared, partial eta squared, omega squared, these are about regression. So what this partial eta squared is representing me, what this partial eta square is helping me in understanding, promotion level is able to predict 98% of sales. Eta or eta squared is simply a kind of regression. Why it is a kind of regression? Because there is one variable which is categorical and one variable which is on continuous scale. If both variables are on continuous scale, then I could have called it perfect regression. But why I am calling it a kind of regression? Because establishing a relationship between one continuous and one categorical variable is always challenging. Eta square or partial eta squared or omega squared has taken this, they have taken this responsibility, and they have said we'll be able to establish a relationship. So what I'm able to infer, that with the help of different promotion, you can have different sales. Your hypothesis is rejected. 1. Promotion, in-store promotion is able to predict 98% of the total sales with the help of partial eta squares. And then we have separate models you want to see, because now we are having only promotion. If you have more variables, you can put them here and you can see that models. You want to check some assumptions. When you click on homogeneity test, you will get Levens and Bartlett test. Both the tests are not rejected, which means there is homogeneity within the data. That is why this is representing, this is indicating the very high relationship. Normality test, Shapiro-Wilk, Kolmogorov-Semyonov, and this is also telling me note additional results provided with more test. Okay. QQ test is telling me the data is almost distributed, almost normal, right? Assumption checks could be done. Contrast, I will not disturb it. However, there are multiple options to see the contrast. I'll not disturb it because this is especially in the case of independent variable. Post hoc tests are needed much, but probably today we will not get sufficient time to discuss about post hoc test. Estimate marginal means this is a very special category of analysis, very special situation of analysis. This one. right? Marginal means plot need to be created, marginal means plot tables need to be created, equal cell weight. I'm not disturbing anything. If I disturb, this is a very, this needs a high level of your knowledge when you talk about estimate marginal means. So I'm not talking about that, right? For simple usage of ANOVA, whatever we have discussed is sufficient. You can also create means plot looking at the data, and then you can create a means plot based on ANOVA. But this reporting only this table is sufficient. And this is a very good website. If you look at this website, student help, you can simply click on home and how to report ANOVA, t-test independent analysis of variance. How do I report one way between subject ANOVA in APA format? And you will be able to see the fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks are there. Put some data from as degree of freedom, significance value, F value, because ANOVA has been created by Fisher, so they have indicated ANOVA is represented by F value. F2 and 12 is degree of freedom first and degree of freedom second, example and complete. So this you can keep this in your records. I will post this link to your chat box. Statistics help for students.com. And I'm sure this website will be helpful for everyone in writing while you're writing interpretation of these hypothesis testing tools. Vidya Sagarji, is there no need to talk here R square value for ANOVA? Am I right, sir? No, is not needed. R square is not needed here. Right, R square will be needed when we'll be discussing regression and all other things, right? So I'm removing this. So this was a case study of ANOVA. What will happen if you want to talk about repeated measures ANOVA? So in this case, this measurement has been done only one time. In this case, the measurement have been done by multiple times. A dietitian introduced a new diet chart plan to reduce the weight loss. The dietitian took 15 women who considered themselves to be in need of losing weight and put them on this diet for 2 months. Their weight was measured in kilograms at the start of diet, and then after 1 month, 2 months, and 3rd month also. I have because these are my own case studies. So losing weight on 2 months along with an exercise plan. This is the case study, and let me open a third variety of data, which is weight loss program from by repeated measures. So I'm having a baseline. The first time their weights have been measured after the end of first month, 2nd month, and 3rd month. Right? How to measure that? Click on ANOVA. Click on repeated measures ANOVA. Right? You'll have to click on first thing. First thing is diet. Enter. Under diet, you have first diet is based on protein. The second diet is based on carbs. Then second factor is exercise. First factor is low exercise. Please mute yourself. And the second factor is high exercise. The moment I click anywhere outside, you can see now there are 4 profiles have been created. So this is protein with the low exercise. I'll drag and drop all the variables here. And now you can see repeated measures ANOVA have been given. The results of repeated measures ANOVA. Note type 3 sum of the square, SS. Now you can see there is another kind of library is needed here. Okay. So P value is rejecting, which means the diet is also effective in terms of protein and in terms of carbs. And you can see the last column, which is about diet multiplied by exercise residuals. Everything has been effective of this particular situation. So because now we have more than 2 variables, now you can click on generalized eta square And generalized eta square is saying there is a high effect instead of diet and multiplication. Diet with the multiplication of exercise is not been very much effective, whereas diet is very effective in this case. And exercise is also very effective, but using both will not be much effective in this case. You can also click on eta square. Eta square is representing almost the same tendency of the data. Partial eta square is will also represent, yes, partial eta square is representing diet is very much effective in comparison to all other choices. Right? You can select different type of model. I will not be disturbing it here. Assumption checks are needed. So along with the homogeneity test and QP plots, now you have Greenhouse-Geiser and Heinrich-Fiedelt. Different kind of normality. Jamovi is much or far advanced in comparison to all other statistical tools. You might not have heard these names before. Greenhouse-Geiser and his Fiedelt. These are the names of different ways of looking at sphericity corrections. What is needed and what is not needed, which variable need to be removed from data, which variable. However, I have not seen much uses of repeated measures ANOVA in terms of social sciences, because most of the medical scientists need it multiple times. The experiments have been done. Then there is a third or next discussion will be about ANCOVA and MANCOVA, right? So actually it is not MANCOVA, it is M-ANCOVA. ANCOVA is analysis of covariance and M-ANCOVA is multivariate analysis of covariance. What is the difference there? Let me help you understanding this. I'll open a data, which is an actually SPSS sheet. Sales 06, sales ANCOVA file need to be opened. Just a minute. I'll close some of the Jamovi files so that my PC will be responding faster. Otherwise, done. Correct. So when I perform ANCOVA, let us understand that. So I'm having these four data. I'm having this one data set with four variables. One is territory. So there are three territories: territory A, B, and C. Right? 10 data from each territory. Then there is a sales of every territory, so maybe in terms of crores. This is the data of sales. Advertisement amount spent on advertisement is given in this data, and season, what is the season to the specific territory, right? I'll go to the ANOVA. We'll click on ANCOVA, analysis of covariance. Let me tell you a bit about analysis of covariance. Sales will always be dependent variable. When you want to predict a dependent variable based on categorical variables, if you can see here, based on categorical variables, fixed factor. So I will have to place territory and season in fixed factor. And then advertisement could be a covariate. This is very important here. And this is why only this has been named as, this CO has been added in between of ANOVA, covariate. So advertisement is covariate. So while territory and season, as the sales is increasing or decreasing, maybe advertisement can also increase or decrease. So now you have the complete data. As you can see, territory is not affecting much. Sorry, territory is affecting much. Territory is very effective in terms of sales. Season is not affecting much, whereas advertisement is affecting much. Territory and season both are affecting much. If I click on now, I can click on overall model test, and overall model test is rejecting a hypothesis. Rejecting a hypothesis means the overall model is a good fit. If I click on eta square, you can see all the variables instead of season. Season does not have much relationship with season does not have much relationship on the sales, whereas I'm sorry, all other variables are showing very positive relationship. And in fact, territory and season together are not much effective in this case, whereas territory has been very effective if I'm talking about eta square. Allow me a moment. Now we can talk about different models, different situations. Generally, GLM, general linear model, are of 3 types, and third type is most preferable because here we'll be handling most of the errors. Assumption checks are needed, homogeneity, normality, and QQ plot. The same result, I'll not be repeating those. These are the 2 contrast. You can change that for your purposes. Post hoc, I'm sure we'll discuss tomorrow. 100% we'll discuss tomorrow. And estimate marginal means I'm not disturbing this whole analysis because this needs some advanced level of knowledge on this. Even I'm not perfect, very much perfect on these type of things. Estimate, rest all the things I can perform, but is not needed for this particular model. Right? Only this much analysis of ANCOVA is sufficient, and this is telling me territory is very much effective. Even advertisements are also very effective, right? With the help of same data, I'll open another file for ANCOVA, multivariate data. So more than one variable could covariate at a time. So I'll be looking at a situation, the data file sales ANCOVA, open. And when I click on ANOVA and ANCOVA, so now you can have more than one dependent variable. So maybe sales and advertisement are 2 dependent variable. Season and territory, we need categories here. And a score of intelligence score of a salesman is a covariant here, right? And here is my model. Now this is very important to understand at the bottom. Pillai's trace, Wilks lambda, Hotlin's trace, they are a kind of multivariate analytics somebody was talking about in the beginning, Mahalanobis and all other different procedure. BoxM can help you in understanding the data assumption, whereas Shapiro-Wilks can also help you. Shapiro-Wilks, this is telling me the data is normally distributed. BoxM, the chi-square is represented with the help of BoxM. Degree of freedom is again rejected. Too few observation to calculate the statistic. Each subgroup must have at least as many observation as there is a dependent variable. Right. So this is what is the challenge with the BoxM. Otherwise, BoxM can help you in measuring whether this model is effective or not. Quantile plot of multivariate normality. And now you can see, though your tests are showing your variable, your data is normally distributed, whereas quantile multivariate test is telling you that your data is not exactly normally distributed as it should be, right? There is a specific use of these different tests. I think reading of the books will help you. Pillai's trace, Wilks lambda, and even if you get any challenges with this part, we'll discuss these tomorrow. However, these are the kind of these are along with the multivariate statistics. These are also kind of post hoc analysis which will help you in measuring a complete model fit. Right. So these are the table which could be directly imported, which could be directly exported to your thesis or directly exported to your research paper. However, with the very honest note, since last 2-3 years, I have not seen anyone using repeated measures ANOVA, ANCOVA, and ANCOVA. A few years ago, they were very popular while you were doing these type of analysis, but nowadays they are not much popular, right? I am already having one file which is sales, and I can also perform after ANCOVA. I can also perform one-way ANOVA, which is also known as Kruskal-Wallis test. KW, not KS. I'm not talking about Kolmogorov-Simronov test. I want to test about Kruskal-Wallis. So sales and advertisement is a dependent variable, and territory is an independent variable. Effect size, and there is very interesting term DSCF. DeVos, Steele, Crislow, Flinger pairwise comparison. And this Kruskal-Wallis test is telling you epsilon square, chi-square, p-value is not significant. So maybe other variables are able to predict it. If this is a non-metric data, non-parametric data, maybe other variables are able to predict this, but probably Dwas, Steele, Krislows, and Flinger's test can tell you this is not a good fit of the model because your data is finally not normally distributed. Right? On the same way, you can also perform Sales M ANOVA under repeated measures ANOVA. And you can you can put all the continuous variables here. Pairwise comparison of Darwin-Convor, descriptives and descriptive plots based on means. Chi-square is again telling you Friedman's test. There are multiple types of tests, and I'm sure you'll need a good reading on. We have already discussed different types and multiple types of statistics and a statistical procedure. I'm sure you'll be need a good book. You'll be in need of some good books or some good material to look at these procedures and all other things. Okay. So this was about. I think today we had an overdose of statistics and hypothesis testing, which you might be facing it a bit challenging, but every hypothesis, all the tests need to be discussed all together. If I could have discussed them into the different sessions, probably you won't be able to understand when to perform which test. I'm sure now you will be able to understand when to perform which test. Kruskal-Wallis and Friedman are non-parametric of these ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA. Sorry, repeated measures of ANOVA. So if you are specifically looking for non-parametric, you can go with them. Otherwise, t-test is the best test, and ANOVA. This is the part where you need most of the discussion. Most of the research papers are written on these 4 popular tests. ANCOVA and MANCOVA, M-ANCOVA are needed. ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA are needed if you are into the advanced discussion of interaction of one variable with other variable, and you are not able to use regression. So they are more, in fact, sometimes ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA are more powerful than regression, because regression can predict the situation of other variable, whereas regression cannot predict the interaction of one variable with other variables. So that's the challenge, that's the dilemma with ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
Excuse me,
please.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, sorry for the interruption, but as per the explanation given, I understood that ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA can be applied only if there is one continuous and one categorical, correct?
Right. For ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA, you should have a combination of continuous, categorical, and continuous variable. But the dependent variable must be a continuous variable, and all other variables could be categorical variable, which is not the case of regression, right? Because with the help of ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA, you can predict, which is a task of regression. So they are very complex procedures. So until and unless you are on the advanced stage of defining interaction or defining effect of one variable in presence of other variable, which is sometimes in advanced form of regression is known as mediation or moderation also. So if you are not in that case, do not use ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Looking at the silence of the class and silence of the chat box, it seems you might be facing an overdose of statistics.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Only one could have dared to accept yes. Right. Any further discussion or any further question? You're most welcome.
No, sir, it's a good class, and we learned a lot in this lecture.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev ji.
Yes, sir. These concepts are quite new for me, and I used to wonder what is ANOVA. Okay, how do people do this t-test and all these tests? So I'm learning step by step. So what does this thing mean?
Thank you very much for your kind words. Whereas this one is parametric one. See, so there is no limit of dependent variable. even no limit of factors which are categorical variable, and again no limit of covariates. However, it is advised to use not more than 3 covariates. It is advised to use not more than 3 covariates. Otherwise, there is no limit. You can include any situation here, any number here. Right. And that's a very similar situation like we have in this case also, ANCOVA. But the only limitation is in analysis of covariance, you need to have only one dependent variable. Fixed factor is again unlimited, covariates are again unlimited, but the challenge will be the recommendation or the advice will be do not use more than 3 covariates. This will make it very complicated for interpretation purpose or anyways. Right. So the major difference in ANCOVA and M-ANCOVA is ANCOVA allows you only one dependent variable, whereas M-ANCOVA allows you unlimited dependent variables.